The following program is rated GE. It is suitable for general family viewing.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is a Realtor. I am Robert Dongo, and today I want us to talk about something that I believe will greatly affect your investment journey, and especially if you're in diaspora. What am I talking about? Have you thought of investing in Kenya from abroad, despite or regardless of the continent you are in? I believe there has been a lot of speculations. There has been a lot of remittance coming to our land, but I want us to break down how we can go about all this when it comes to your investment from abroad. I want us to have this discussion, and if you're in abroad, just take it right here from the Realtor, because I believe the tips we're gonna share will help you and will guide you to investing back home, that is Kenya. Karibu sana, let's have it. Yes, all right. Thank you very much. And as I've told you, we are right here to discuss this issue that I believe majority who are watching this from diaspora, and even Kenyans who are doing business locally, and they have an idea of what and how to go about diaspora investment here locally, leave alone the remittance. We're also talking about the opportunities, and more so, who can guide you and what are you likely to meet when you engage in this kind of business. And you are there, you are in a diaspora, I request you take a notepad, because we're going to give you tips that will guide your investment here in Kenya. I am with Mr. Martin. Karibu sana, sir.
Thank you.
Good to meet you.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you, Robert.
yes.
Thank you for having me. Yes.
I want us to have this discussion, and we want to guide people who would want to invest from abroad, investing back in Kenya. And I believe you are guru in it, so you'll be taking us through these steps. But mambo ya kwanza kwanza, they say first things first. Say hi and tell us who you are.
Oh, thank you, Robert. Greetings, everyone. My name is Martin. Martin Githinji. I am the CEO designate of AMG Realtors Limited, a real estate company here in Kenya for the last 12 good years. Largely we serve customers and Kenyans in the diaspora, and we are right here in Juja, one of our flagship projects called Juja Prime, and maybe later I'll be telling our viewers more about this particular project.
Wow.
Yes.
When you see, or rather when you hear about flagship, just know it is a chain of projects that are laid down for you. But as I've told you, I want us to understand how we can invest back home and invest in a safe way, and leave alone losing your money. Also the opportunities that you are likely to lose if you are not aware. Number 3, it is also important to understand the policies that guide this kind of investment, and how you can make sure that you project right when it comes to speculation. And Mr. Martin, it's my pleasure to have you on the show. There's a Realtor, and we say this is where we bring everything pertaining real estate to our dear viewers.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much. Now, tell us, maybe you can start by telling us, the state of real estate investment currently in Kenya.
I will be answering that on the perspective of this year, because I think when we are analyzing matters real estate, it's important we look at it annually, because where we are coming from last year, 2023, we saw a lot of fiscal policies done by the government in terms of the taxation, introduction of taxes that cuts across the spectrum of taxpayers in Kenya, and that really had a trickle-down effect to many of the Kenyans here in Kenya. So coming in 2024, we have seen in terms of the state of the economy, we have seen that things in terms of those fiscal policies, although the government is still introducing some of those policies, we are seeing that the economy is slowly coming back to where we wanted it to be. So we are seeing there is positive inclination towards people now wanting to invest. That is one thing. The second thing is disposable incomes. With now the issues of taxation settling in, now people are able now to plan themselves better with what is remaining, because you can only plan after taxes. You know, we do all our maths after taxes. You know what I mean? Even companies, when they are doing analysis, it's profit after tax. Profit after tax. because once you remove the tax part of it, now you are able to plan yourself, and we are seeing people are now more positive in terms of investment. The other thing is with the housing program coming back, I believe Kenyans are now seeing more opportunities in what the government is saying, because those areas, some of those areas where the government is building the houses, it's an opportunity to grow those areas in terms of real estate, because it will not just be the government doing the houses. Private sector will also go in and do their thing, build houses. If it's AMG, we will sell gated communities where the government is doing the houses. So the opportunities are there, and we are very optimistic about this year 2024.
All right, Martin, and I think that's quite insightful. And when we talk about the housing projects and the housing program by the government, you're putting it so clearly that there is no restriction that the government extends to this far, so you can only give it some riparian and go build up there.
Absolutely no.
You can share the wall.
You can share the wall.
That's interesting.
And provide
an
alternative investment.
Right.
And I believe the intention is one, creation of job opportunities, and of course ensuring that we have met the housing demand in the country.
Right,
yes.
Which is quite vast as we speak. Now, Martin, maybe you can tell us, having said this, I believe according to, you've said we can calculate it annually, and majority out here are people who are saying the economy is not good, but because of lack of some insights from experts like yourself, we say I cannot invest now, or I will invest when the economy stabilizes, using whatever parameters to measure this, I don't know, but you can tell us, is it rightful to invest in such a time, or we wait for stability to come?
The best time to invest is now. Why? Because when everyone else is saying wait and see, when everyone has developed the wait and see kind of an approach in terms of real estate investment, that is the best time to invest, because the market is not saturated. Once the economy stabilizes and everyone is in a position to get disposable income for real estate investment, it will mean the demand will go up. Absolutely. So the best time is when people have developed a wait and see, and this is the time to make that investment, because you'll be able to cash in when now everyone is coming into the market.
And now, Mr. Martin, maybe you can tell us, in the recent past, I've observed a lot of traction from foreigners and both Kenyans in diaspora. What is it that is so attractive to Kenyan real estate market that is causing this kind of traffic and traction?
Numbers don't lie. Remittance, every single year, every single month, the remittance from our brothers and sisters in the diaspora have surpassed our exports. And you know, for the longest time, our export has been, the key export has been tea, coffee. For the longest time. The remittance coming from the Kenyans in the diaspora has surpassed our key export, which means that remittance and Kenyans in the diaspora are a force to reckon with. Why is it so? Because of the multiplier factor. When you look at all the currencies outside, when you look at the dollar, when you look at the pound, the euro, the amount exchanging or exchange rate with Kenya shillings, although right now it has stabilized, for the longest time we have seen an increase when it comes to, we have seen the shilling losing against major currencies in the world. And what that means is that the people who are working outside there, once they bring in the money they are earning, there is a bigger multiplier effect. They have more value for money. If you have $1,000, you have 132,000 Kenya shillings today. You know what I mean? Which means that you are able to get more value for money. Why is it so? Because what we are experiencing is across the world. Whatever that Kenya is facing is not in isolation. So you'll find that even in those locations and jurisdictions where the Kenyans are, they are still facing issues of inflation, which means that if they are investing whatever they are earning in the countries they are, they get less value for money. So once they invest that money here in Kenya, they have more value for money. And that's why we are seeing the remittances growing, because there is more value for their money here in Kenya.
We have seen people cry in the past because in as much as home is the best, you come and find your brothers and your sisters at home. They are not the ones you left or the ones you imagined. By this I mean, do we have the right, the most favorable policies for Kenyans outside to invest back home?
It's a good question and a valid one at the same time, and couldn't have come at any given time better than this one, because when you look at the history of not just people investing from outside the country, we will not hide our heads under the sand that there are no issues in the sector, bedeviling the sector. There are many issues, and most of those issues are on matters integrity. And for the longest time we've had there are issues in the sector. And one of the key things right now, as the government comes up with policies, because there are policies that are there, and as a government comes in with policies, it is very important that the investors who are outside the country, they do something called due diligence. There is research on who you are investing with, the existence of some of these organizations, because from time immemorial, these issues have been similar. There is no issue that has been outside of what we know. For example, many of the investors invest blindly without quantifying whether the sellers are the genuine sellers. For example, it's just an example. And of course, we are promised that, I know these people, I have met them, but have you looked at the documents? Because we all know the validity of property ownership in Kenya is through certain documents. So are we deploying professionals to ensure that due diligence has been done, for example, to ensure that whatever you are getting is value for money? So as the government comes up with policies, it is important and highly recommended that wherever you are, you deploy professionals to ensure that what you are buying at the end of the day is genuine and value for money.
Hold that, Mr. Martin. And I believe you start seeing where red flags came your way when you are investing and you are duped. And at the same time, you can tell this is what you missed, or even if you are starting the journey, this is where to get it. We've just lit the fire. We've ignited the engine. Don't go away, because after this short break, we'll be back, right back with Mr. Martin, telling us about the regulatory frameworks, telling us about the opportunities that are available at the moment, and what he has to offer at the same time. Hello and welcome back. This is a Realtor. I'm Robert Dongo. I'm hosting one Mr. Martin of AMG Realtors, and we are discussing how can you be able to invest back home if you're in abroad, if you're in diaspora. It doesn't matter what side of the continent you are, but there are opportunities for you. And this is what we're breaking down. But more importantly, you're just highlighting areas that are of key concerns when it comes to the safety of your finances and also the safety of your speculation. All this put together, we have Mr. Martin who is taking us through this. Karibu sana, Mr. Martin.
Thank you, Robert.
Yes. I'm happy, and before we did the break, you've just highlighted some key areas that people should consider when it comes to this journey and acquisition of property. But now, Mr. Martin, take us to this angle. How safe are our investors from diaspora? Well, you've talked about those areas that people should check in. But then I want you to tell us, how are they safe while investing back home?
Now, number one, it is very important first we remember, where are we coming from? Where is the problem statement in terms of the journey of the diaspora person? For a very long time, our Kenyans who are living and working in the diaspora have never gotten the proper information of what is happening in terms of exposure. So many times they are not quite clear and they don't know what is this information we are being told of what is happening in Kenya. For example, lack of information has been one of the hindrances. And the lack of information is, number one, either we are not telling our people what is happening. So they still have the picture of the Kenya they knew 20 years back. So you can imagine today, if someone left Kenya 30 years ago, the picture they have about Kenya vis-a-vis what is there in Kenya are two different nations altogether in terms of connectivity, infrastructure, network, and all that. I mean, it's a whole different country altogether. So number one, it's very key that we continue informing our people of the things that are happening in the country. The other thing is over-reliance of people that we believe are close to us, because in one way or the other, you want to make an investment through the people you know. But at the end of the day, we find that many of the issues that have been there have occurred because probably you over-trusted someone you knew, and it end up costing you badly, because there is, when we have, many times when we have family issues, many times there is no legal recourse, because you can imagine if it's your brother, you've sent money, and he has told you, you know, we didn't have a food, so we decided the money you have sent, we'll use it for food. Many times there is no legal recourse for that. So continuously what we are saying as a company, as AMG, go out there, look for information, look for validity of the people who are selling the property. Check them out. How long have they been doing what they are doing? For example, as a company, the organization that I represent started from the US because it was the founder's dream to create a company that has or will give solutions to the people in the diaspora. So through that, through the conception of an organization that caters for the diaspora people, we are very keen on ensuring that every single person has gotten value for money. We have given them title deeds within 60 days, and of course, selling them what we own.
But Mr. Martin, there's something that is coming out somehow clearly, and because you have better information and knowledge, are there some areas in Kenya, some cities that are perceived to be best for diaspora investment, or it's just a perception?
There is data, enough data to support that, because when you rely on data, you cut a lot of stories, because the numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie. So for example, in Nairobi, there is data enough to show that there are key towns around Nairobi that are growing faster than others. Why am I saying this? Because these towns, we are calling them satellite towns. The reason they are growing faster is because of proximity to the CBD, number one. Number two, the number or the population through the census that is conducted. There is a growing population in some of these areas. One of those key areas is Juja. Juja is one of the satellite towns around Nairobi that is growing faster than any other town across Nairobi. Why? Number one, Juja land prices are going twofold every year, annually. If an acre is 17 million today, next year, a time like this, it grows twofold. Why is this happening? For example, when you zero in Juja, for example, you'll see that there are several drives to this growth. Number one, there are key institutions, like public institutions, a university here in Juja, we all know it, which is driving people to build houses, hostels for accommodation and all that. The other thing is, the more you move closer to town, the higher the rent. The higher the rent, and less the quality of life, because it's more noisier as you get into town. It's more polluted as you get into town. When you move outside town and there is road connectivity, you have a better life in terms of the environment. It's more cleaner, the air is more cleaner, it's better, it's more safe, it's more peaceful, it's more quiet outside the city, and also at a convenience location to access the city.
Hold on, that somebody told me the far the far if you are in rentals, the far you stay from CBD, the less rent you pay, but the more the fare you pay to town, and the vice versa. The closer you are to CBD, like Gara, you said, more rent you pay. And anyway, this matrix can only be understood by people who have an investment mentality, because it's talking of quality of life, serenity, or the ambience that you are even bringing your family up, and especially if you're talking about residential areas. Mr. Martin, what are these risks that face people who are investing from diaspora?
Now, there are quite many risks that are there, and of course, some of those risks have been mitigated over time, because with the emergence of organizations that are able to directly cater for diaspora people, many of those risks have been mitigated. But among some of those is integrity in terms of who to trust with your money, because someone who is in the diaspora and also who is here in Kenya, you can imagine a situation where someone has money but don't know who to invest with. It's a good problem to have, because the money is there but you don't know who to trust your money with. And that is where we are saying, let's do due diligence. Number one is trust. The other major issue that we have is how to send the money, and that's where the government comes in, because when you look at the situation right now, the money remittance companies are making a kill out of the Kenyans. Exorbitant charges when it comes to sending money here in Kenya, because there is what they, to facilitate sending the money. And that's where in institutions like KMG we are coming in, because in some of those jurisdictions like the US, we've been able to open bank accounts there for our customers to pay from there directly. So which means that risk of losing money or here in Kenya when you're sending has been mitigated.
Mr. Martin, that's very okay. And we've talked about the satellite project. And as a company, where are you and what are you considering when choosing there?
So where we are right now, we are at Juja, because there is someone who is seeing this beautiful gate here and asking, and what are these guys doing here? So we have this fantastic, I had mentioned, flagship project called Juja Prime. So currently we've done Juja Prime Phase 1 all the way to Juja Prime Phase 8. You can imagine from Phase 1 to Phase 7 fully sold out. So what and where we are is 5 minutes drive from Juja. Juja is along the major Thika superhighway, of course 30 minutes from the CBD. And from where Juja town is, you just do 5 minutes towards Juja Farm. You'll find Juja Prime from the main road. It's our project, Juja Prime, our flagship project. And these are gated communities where Kenyans here in Kenya and also in the diaspora have invested heavily. They are doing their dream homes because everything is sorted in this project. As you can see, fantastic infrastructure here. The gate is done. Security is provided day and night. There are solar street lights so that it's properly lit at night when you are living here. Drainage is sorted inside here, part of the amenities. And of course, there is water, but there is a borehole. The roads have been done. And of course, additionally also electricity. So it's a one-stop shop. And of course, you get your title deed within 60 days.
Mr. Martin, I'm so grateful. Thank you for the insights. I believe these Kenyans are out there and they're gonna talk to you. And if you're there, you have any question that you'd want to ask Mr. Martin of AMG, just go to our social media handle, that is the TV47 Kenya. At the same time, the Realtor TV47 Kenya, and Robert Ndongo is my Facebook page. And Mr. Martin, I believe we have not touched on value addition. We've not touched about what we have to do next. But all this, with the permission of my producer, will be coming to you asking for another session so that we can touch on what is this that we call value addition and the effect it has on the value of the property currently and also in future. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you as well.
Thank you for keeping it the Realtor. My name is Robert Dongo, and I want to end it there. And until next time, goodbye.